Papers, we have Minister for Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Acting Speaker, pursuant to status, I present the annual report of the Department of Education for the year 2022.
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Acting Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to make a statement in connection with the report.
Question is the leave granted. Minister, make your speech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to present the 2022 annual report for the Department of Education to the National Parliament. My department has without fail always present its annual report to this House because education is so important and everyone has interest in the education system of our country. The report gives insights into the performances, achievements and challenges of the department while implementing its policies in the 2022 academic year. Mr. Speaker, before I present some highlights of the report, I wish to put on record on behalf of the 2.3 million children and millions of parents our thank you to the Marape-Rosso government for giving its highest priority to education, despite the country's economic challenges. I equally thank every governor and member of parliament for their steadfast support in education. Mr. Speaker, I reiterate my stand that education is the key that unlocks knowledge, talent, skills, and development, and will ensure prosperity for a nation. It is a common denominator, the foundation upon which society and nations are built, and for that very reason, we must never leave any child behind because of space, because of gender, religion, ethnicity, disability, and whatsoever. Every child has his right to ECE to grade 12, and we are obliged to provide that. We must leave no child behind. Mr. Speaker, the Department's 2022 annual report consists of 122 pages, and it is comprehensive. It reports on many achievements and challenges in 2022. I urge every minister to read it in your own time. In the interest of time, I will highlight only 6 critical and milestone policies implemented achievements and challenges. Number 1, exit of outcome-based curriculum and adaptation of standard-based curriculum, SBC. The OB has been exited in 2022 and Papua New Guinea has adopted the SBC, standard-based curriculum. We have completed the phasing in of SBC into the education system in 2022. The development phase of the SBC, the syllabus and teacher's guide for all subjects and grades except for a few vocational schools and CCVE are complete, printed and sent to schools. Training of teachers in elementary, primary and secondary SBC is completed in 2022. Southern Highlands Province was the last province and was completed in 2023. Our biggest challenge to complete this change is the procurement of the textbooks for students, and we are considering electronic solution. Number 2, food reform and expansion. Food has made huge strides with the approval of the 5-year strategic plan and the Prime Minister's launch in 2020. As you can see in the table, enrollments in 2022, Food has increased its enrollment to 2020, 35,513. In 2021, 53,436. Enrollment in 2022, 82,877. We will report next year for this year's enrollment, and we are anticipating that it will be over 100,000. The expansion of FODs utilizing secondary schools resources started in 2021 and is advocated at all levels. 10 schools in East Sepik Province, West Sepik Province, Uguro, Gulf, and Eastern Highlands, and all schools in Southern Highlands are formally registered and delivering the secondary program. We also have 6 new TVET centers, 10 districts successfully delivering under the reforms. These districts are Taripori, Usunabundi, Imbongu, Kiunga, Yangro Sausia, Maprik, Wawaria, and Ialibu Pangia. We do have some reports of many students entering higher education and training colleges like UPNG, UOG, teachers' colleges. We are also investing in some infrastructure projects with a limited PIP support. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, Schools of Excellence. The Prime Minister launched the Schools of Excellence in 2020, so we have a category of schools that cater for higher talented students in a practical effort to convert the national manpower from end users of technology to innovators and creators of technology. STEM curriculum has been developed so it is aligned with the PNG University STEM-related courses. Our pioneer 220 STEM students graduated in 2022. Our policy calls for the enrollment of the top 5% of the grade 10 students to the Schools of Excellence and the top 5% to be enrolled in overseas universities. 119 students have been selected in our local universities. Overseas scholarship for the top students are being arranged by Department of Education. 7 Australian and 55 scholarships in USA are in progress. Given the huge population of the Highlands region, the National Education Board has approved an additional National School of Excellence in Highlands region for 2024 to 2025. And our provincial government is helping to build the school. Mr. Speaker, number 4, decentralization. Almost all schools are under the provincial governments. The department has deliberately decentralized some of the functions and activities to the provinces. This includes provincial education laws. All provinces have provincial laws except NCD and 8 provinces: East Sepik, Madang, Ella, Jiwaka, Eastern Highlands, Central, Gulf, Southern Highlands, Western Highlands needs review. Payroll salary decentralization. We only have Ella, Gulf completed in 2022, and Southern Highlands will be the last targeted for 2023. Teachers must not come to Port Moresby for salary issues. Their files and payroll are in the provinces. Government tuition fee management. We have MOAs with New Ireland Province, East New Britain, Morobe, Enga, Milimbe. Others slow due to trust account issues. We have regional offices in each region to support provinces with technical and supervisory assistance, planning, TVET, TSC inspections. National officers assigned, Mr. Speaker, to each provinces, including schools inspectors, GTFS coordinators, guidance officers, curriculum and assessment officers. Funding to support these officers is often a challenge, but provinces help these officers significantly. Most provinces provide significant support. Mr. Speaker, all districts have 2 school inspectors' positions. Every secondary inspector positions have been increased to 2, except Morobe 3, Gulf 1, and Manus 1. Requirement of secondary inspectors is very challenging, and headmasters who have high entitlements and privileges are unwilling to take up inspectors' positions. Lack of capacity and expertise at the provincial and district levels remain a concern. Mr. Speaker, number 5, government tuition fee subsidy. In 2022, we distributed or disbursed 632 million in government tuition fee and 160 million in project fees. That means, Mr. Speaker, parents have not paid anything. Our government has subsidized the full 100% school fee subsidy at a total of 792 million kina. In 2023 budget, as you can see the table, my apologies, I think the statement has got the updated statement, so later the clerk will organize that for your noting. But in total project fees, this year, 160 million, government continues to subsidize. We have paid 80 million already. I think the other 80 million is been paid or in the progress. And for a total GTFS, we have paid 333 million. I think last week the remaining balance has been paid to school accounts for terms 3 and term 4. So our students should not be sent home. Our government is paying fees. Our teachers are reminded to keep our students in schools. Our payment in term 1 was on time, but term 2 was paid on Friday, 26 May 23, to all schools. The decentralization of school fees to provinces is by principle a good policy. 5 provinces are decentralized under MOAs, but there are practical issues of implementation, including schools receiving less funds that naturally or nationally allocated, and or funds remitted to schools not on time. We have audited New Ireland province, and the others will follow to determine the way forward. Commodity component. Mr. Speaker, all materials procured in 2022, the 74 million kina have been disbursed by 32 SMEs, that is 27 million. Local content, except a few districts in Southern Islands and Momase, have not been completed as schools are unable to collect from the distribution point. Alternatively, arrangements are being made. Mr. Speaker, for 2023, all supplies contracts will be done by provinces. PNG SMEs will be given the opportunity to bid for the tenders. Tenders will be out by around August, September this year for supplies to reach schools at the start of term 1 in 2024. Mr. Speaker, number 6, infrastructure and responsibility. There are so many requests coming to my office and the Department of Education for school infrastructures like classrooms and library, whatever. This clearly highlights, A, the huge need at every school level in the districts and provinces, that we are not too sure of who is responsible for capital development at each school level. The organic level clearly, or law clearly specifies that all general education system come under the provincial governments, except these that come under the minister, namely NCD, FOD, National Schools of Excellence, and Special Education Centers. I will further look at decentralizing FOD and Special Education Centers as well. D, for now, I believe we need to consider a sector of education, each level of government as follows. Number one, LLG and DDAs must be responsible for early childhood and preschools. Number two, LLG and DDAs must be responsible for primary schools. Provincial governments, high schools, secondary schools, and vocational education. National governments and Department of Education, National Schools of Excellence, FORD, Special Education Centers, and NCD with NCDC. Number four, national government, that is the higher education, all institutions post-secondary. Mr. Speaker, our government's commitment, the Marape-Rosso government is committed to education. We will pay full school fees, including project fees, buy textbooks, build more classrooms, other school infrastructure, train and retrain teachers to teach the same standard-based curriculum we have started and we will continue. Mr. Speaker, major policy interventions such as government tuition fee is one of the key commitments this government made to the people of Papua New Guinea to ensure no child is left behind. It made a commitment to pay 100% school fee for students from elementary all the way to grade 12 in 2022 and still remains up to this year. Mr. Speaker, our department has gone through the overhauling of our education system, and we have worked on the education, PNG education transformation vision. And I thank the cabinet to approve that. Our team will work on and develop that with the consultation to districts, open members, churches, and development partners to ensure we develop that. So we look at how we could change our entire education system that is PNG homegrown, so we address our social issues that we are facing. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I thank the Marape-Rosso government and honourable members of parliament from both sides for their continued support to the education sector. To the governors, I acknowledge your undivided support and make education a key priority area in your budgets and other resource allocations in your respective districts and provinces. I sincerely thank our partners and stakeholders for their continued support. Mr. Speaker, finally, I thank the Secretary for Education, Dr. Uke Kombra, and the management team, and all the staff of the department for successfully ending the academic year 2022. I further extend my gratitude to the provincial education boards and provincial and district education advisors, school boards of management, guardians, community, parents, and for their undivided support. I appreciate your support and look forward to continue support this academic year, this year 2022. Mr. Speaker, and may God bless Papua New Guinea. Thank you.